But what I found over the years in helping people running lots of scripts was I do the same jump all the time, selecting where the files are and making an output directory. I found myself kept kind of opening up the last script that I wrote for someone, copy pasting a whole bunch of code, and then just like changing the meat in the middle. And I thought, well, this is a bit of a waste of time because I don't want to always open the old code. Why don't I just write a script that generates a script for me? So, and I've given this to everyone now. So the logic here is, if you run the script, it's really just a whole bunch of print statements, right? But it pops up a little dialogue, and I can't remember if we covered them or not. I think they're later on. But we ask, well, what's your name? What's your email? Because usually, if you give someone a script, probably want some kind of credit for it. You're probably not going to get authorship, but it should be there. Give it a name, give it a version number, whether you want to start at 1 or start at 0.1, depending on your confidence. You can write a bit of a description. So it would say like, oh, this is the script that finds the nucleus. And you can use this escape sequence to make a line break. So if you want your description to be like a really long thing, you can actually print it over multiple lines. And each time you actually in your head hit enter, you just type in that and the code for making the line. If you want a file extension, so to have that tidy up thing, you need someone to write .tif.tif and I, so you can write that there. And then because I found that sometimes you want a spreadsheet, sometimes you don't, so I've made the option here to generate a summary file. What this does is it prints everything you need into the log window, and then you just copy that into a new script and it'll get you going. There's a little section in the middle that basically says like add your code here. Let you do. So it gives you the start and the end, or at least all the prompts so that it can kind of get you there most of the way, and then you can do your stuff in the middle. So have a go at running the script shell generator, and you're welcome to keep this, use it. I think I say here, just do something basic. So like get the script to run the generator, fill in the text box, paste that script into a new script window, and then maybe replace one of the commands to say like, just open the image file and change the lookup table. So, if you want to make it purple for fire. And if you don't know what the commands are for that, use macro recorder and insert that single correct command into your new script. If you don't know where to change the lookup table, this is where they are. And have a go. But hopefully this will show you that a lot of the stuff that we did or what we covered is a bit repetitive. And you don't have to do that every single time. You can use something like this to generate it for you. I'll cover a couple of things here in the script shell generator. So everyone kind of figured out that you can drag the IJM file onto Fiji and it opens up this window. So print clear, we get rid of anything in the log window because you don't want any kind of junk then populating all your future scripts. Feel free to take this script, and if you change this to your name at this line and then run it, it's going to auto-populate the pop-up with your name. So you don't have to keep changing Joe Blogs all the time, right? Your name. You're going to generate the scripts, may as well put your name there. Likewise for the other information. Something that I've done is I've put a license. Now, I don't have slides on licenses with your scripts, but suffice to say, you might want to make sure that you pick the right license. I generally use the MIT license. You can Google these. There's GNU licenses. There's all different ones. They have slightly different kind of caveats, right? So you might want to try to protect your work. So some of them say, you can use it, whatever, change it. You don't need to quote me. You don't need to give my name. Some say you have to leave my name. Some say you can use it for free if you're not for profit, but if you're commercial, you're not allowed to use this. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do. So this is the general one. But generally, this also covers you. You can say like, don't blame me if this ends the world. Not that your image change script is probably going to do that, but depending on where it goes. If so, if you write that it will definitely do this all the time and then it doesn't, and someone takes that and runs it in pharmaceutical scripts, company, which they do. I know people in pharma who take stuff off people's GitHub and run, if you say that you can. I've also had a pharmaceutical company ask for every script that we run to see what the licenses were, so they are diligent, but that's a little note on licenses. But when you run it, you get this pop-up, and hopefully for this exercise, you untick summary file, because we didn't say that we were going to make a spreadsheet. And so if you untick that, then when you run the script, if I find my log window, there it is. Copy all of that, new script, paste it all in. You'll see that it renders all nicely. Not covered in the workshop, but here, just for your reference, I jump out of the ImageJ macro and tell it to write in HTML so that we can have our pretty little pop-up. And so, if I wrote the description, it would populate down here, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're like me, like the reason I wrote this is I write a lot of scripts. Someone comes to me and goes, oh, you gave me this script, here's the file. I like to read what I wrote that I said it was going to do, because they all look the same otherwise. But you can put whatever you want there. And then I think we opened the image file, changed its lookup table, and then we got the command, which is run file, and pasted it in. So did everyone manage that? Did it run? Did anyone hit the debug? Did anyone have it crash and not work? No? Okay, we'll talk about that stuff later. But as usual, I provided the slide with the answers, and the key thing is that unchecked there, because we're not going to save to our spreadsheet. But sometimes you may want to save to a spreadsheet, right? Because often we're opening images in ImageJ, we're going to measure something and get a number. So how do you print to a file and not just a log window? So we all know how to print to the log window. You just go print brackets, whatever. But what you can do is you can print something else. So we can call it like summary file, call it a table, whatever you want. But I use summary file. And so first of all, what I do is I make something called summary file. So I just say that this variable for summary file will be a file that I open called results_sheet CSV. And this is where one of the confusing things with Fiji is. So before we declared there's this output directory and this is where it's going to be, and then we made it. With this command, we can just kind of go open this, and if it doesn't exist, make it in the fly. Kind of how it works. You could define a string and then say file open summary file, but that's extra lines. And here I'm opening this thing called a CSV. So comma separated value. So then I might print a header so that my spreadsheet columns have titles. Because, for sanity, when you go to print something and you expect 10 things and only 8 of them print, then you need to figure out what's what. So I might have some kind of like print the image name, then I'll talk about the image number, then region of interest or object of interest that I found number. So say I'm opening an image with nuclei, I find all the nuclei, and then I want to print the area of each nuclei. So, it was called image 1, it's the first image, especially nuclei 1 had an area of X, channel 1 mean intensity, whatever I want to report it. So I'm just describing the data here. And then later on, I'll actually print out something that might look like this, where I say print to this summary file, window title, no extension. So you've come across that before now. Then I'm going to have that would just be the big loop over the whole code. And then some ROI number, which should also be a loop, and then the area, whatever I've defined means as elsewhere. So a note on spreadsheets. So you can save it down as a CSV, comma separated value. It's nice and common. It's open So, you know, you can drag that into text viewers, Python code can read it, et cetera, et cetera. We have to separate it by a comma. It's pretty obvious. So if you want to, in Fiji, you would print the comma as a string. So you would kind of append this, print all of this at once. That would be kind of whatever this variable is plus a comma. You can also print to a direct Excel spreadsheet file. And they are separated by tabs. So instead of using commas, use a tab. In Fiji, to print a tab, you have to use it's a special reserved term, it's /t, which is a tab. So then that's what it would look like. When you do open it in Excel, you're going to get some warning that says like, whoa, this file says it was an Excel file, but it wasn't made by Excel. Do you trust it? So this next exercise is basically run the script shell generator again. But copy the text from the log window and run that, copy the text, do that, and then add the commands to get the image file dimension. So we covered that before. So get dimension. And then insert the correct command into the script file and update any headers in the column. I think when I generate in the script shell generator, if we do a summary file, then I call it like image name, image number, number of objects found, and object ID. You would probably want to write something like image name, image number, number of channels, image width, etc. Right? You can pick 10 dimensions to print, you can print one, it's really the same thing. Right? It's proving that you know how to print a variable into this summary file, not just to the log window. So have a go at doing that. You ran the generator, you ticked the tick box that said generate summary file. So you basically get these two lines. And then you added in something like this. I know someone took some code from the previous exercise and pasted it in and printed out the pixel width and stuff. So it doesn't really matter, but hopefully you can appreciate this is how you can start to store your outputs. Now, what you can do in Fiji is if you just like had a big populated results table with all the stuff, you can just save that as a table. But what I like to do is I'm probably going to have some output and then go to like Prism and then do some statistical analysis on it. Now, you shouldn't be doing statistical analysis in like Fiji, you should be doing it in a proper stats program.